What if I told you that the difference between financial struggle and unlimited wealth isn't your education, your connections, or even your circumstances, but something as simple as the words that leave your mouth every single day? Right now, as you're watching this, there are people around the globe who understand a profound secret that most will never discover. They've learned that their voice, when properly aligned with divine truth, becomes their actual bank account, their credit line, and their direct access to infinite supply. These individuals don't chase money, they command it. They don't beg for opportunities, they decree them into existence. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Has this ever happened to you? You've worked tirelessly, followed all the conventional wisdom about building wealth, yet somehow you're still waiting for your breakthrough? You've tried budgeting, investing, side hustles, and countless strategies, but there's always something missing, that elusive key that separates those who merely survive from those who truly thrive. What you're about to discover might surprise you, because everything you've been taught about creating wealth has been backwards. While the world teaches you to work harder, climb ladders, and prove your worth through endless effort, there exists a spiritual law that operates on an entirely different frequency. This law responds not to your labor, but to your language, not to your hustle, but to your voice when it carries the vibration of absolute certainty. The ancient truth that's been hidden in plain sight is this: your spoken word, when aligned with divine principle, becomes the very substance from which your reality is formed. Every syllable you release in faith sends a command through the invisible realm, reshaping the field around you and summoning into form what has been waiting on the edge of visibility. Think about it. What created everything we see around us? Before there was form, there was word. Before the heavens and earth took shape, there was divine declaration. Let there be light. And light obeyed. That same creative power, that same commanding authority, lives within your voice right now. But here's where most people miss it entirely. They speak as beggars when they were designed to speak as royalty. They narrate their limitations when they should be declaring their inheritance. They describe their current circumstances when they should be defining their future reality. Stay with me until the end, because what we're about to explore together will fundamentally shift how you understand the relationship between your words and your wealth. You're going to discover why some people seem to effortlessly attract abundance, while others remain trapped in cycles of financial stress, regardless of how hard they work. The secret isn't in what you do, it's in what you declare. And when you speak from faith rather than fear, when your words become divine decrees backed by unwavering certainty, something extraordinary happens. The very vaults of heaven crack open in response to your authoritative voice. The people who subscribe here aren't looking for quick fixes. They want the profound truths about how consciousness creates wealth. If that's you, hit that subscribe button and join a community of conscious creators. The moment you understand this transformation, everything changes. Because here's the hidden truth that the world doesn't want you to know. The spirit realm doesn't deal in hopes and wishes, it deals in substance. When you speak with genuine authority, you're not just moving air molecules around, you're literally speaking substance into form. Most people have this completely backwards. They think the physical world is solid and the spiritual world is somehow less real, more ethereal. But the reality behind the scenes is exactly the opposite. The unseen realm is more solid, more permanent, more substantial than any coin in your pocket or number in your bank account. Those physical manifestations are just the shadow, the echo of what's already been established in the realm of spirit. This revelation completely shifts your entire approach to wealth creation. While everyone else is focused on the external strategies, the networking, the grinding, the endless pursuit of opportunities, you begin to understand that your true power lies in your ability to speak substance into empty spaces. You learn to bless the silence with golden words of abundance, watching as invisible wealth begins to take tangible form. Here's where the journey gets really fascinating. Your wealth doesn't actually come from the hours you clock or the strategies you execute. It flows according to a divine law that operates independently of human effort. This law states something revolutionary. all supply is spiritual, and every demonstration of abundance begins in consciousness, not in action. Think about the impact this has on how you approach your financial life. Instead of exhausting yourself, trying to force outcomes, you begin to recognize that consciousness is the true source. The millionaire mindset isn't about positive thinking or visualization tricks. It's about aligning your inner word with spiritual law until that alignment becomes so natural, so automatic, that abundance has no choice but to flow. This is why some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth while working less, while others struggle despite enormous effort. The difference isn't in their circumstances or their advantages. The difference is in their understanding of where wealth truly originates. Those who've discovered this secret know that every dollar they'll ever receive already exists in the spiritual realm, waiting to be called forth through the power of their aligned voice. The most successful people throughout history have understood this principle, even if they couldn't articulate it. They spoke with a certainty that moved mountains, opened doors, and magnetized resources. They didn't beg the universe for favor. They commanded substance to arrange itself according to their vision. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because understanding the mechanics of spiritual law is just the beginning. There's a specific way that your subconscious mind processes these declarations, and when you learn to work with this invisible machinery of manifestation rather than against it, the results become absolutely undeniable. Write in the comments, "I choose substance over struggle," if you're ready to make this shift in your own life. The mechanics behind this transformation are absolutely fascinating, and once you understand them, you'll never look at your daily conversations the same way again. Your subconscious mind operates like the most sophisticated manufacturing system ever created. Whatever impression you consistently make upon it must, by spiritual law, be expressed in your external affairs. There are no exceptions to this rule. Here's the revelation that changed everything for me. Most people aren't living in financial struggle because abundance isn't available to them, or because they lack talent, or even because opportunities don't exist. They're struggling because their own speech has been consistently programming their subconscious mind for limitation. Every time they say, "I can't afford it," every sigh at a bill, every conversation about how tough things are, they're literally impressing poverty consciousness deeper into the very system that's designed to create their reality. This is the hidden truth behind why some people seem to have the golden touch, while others, despite working just as hard or harder, remain stuck. It's not about luck or connections or being in the right place at the right time. It's about what's been happening behind the scenes in their inner world, in that constant dialogue between their conscious speech and their subconscious programming. When you like this video, you're saying yes to the power of consciousness to transform financial reality. If these principles resonated with you, that like button is your agreement with this truth. The subconscious doesn't judge or evaluate whether what you're saying is good or bad, helpful or harmful. It simply takes whatever you consistently impress upon it and begins organizing your external world to match that pattern. When you repeatedly speak lack, worry, and limitation, that becomes the blueprint it follows. When you consistently speak abundance, certainty, and divine supply, that becomes your new operating system. But here's where most people get trapped in an endless cycle. They look at their current circumstances, the bank account, the bills, the apparent limitations, and they speak from what they see rather than from what they know to be spiritually true. They let sensory reports dictate their declarations instead of understanding that spiritual law operates on an entirely different frequency. The law doesn't care about your current bank balance. It doesn't factor in market conditions or economic trends. The only question spiritual law asks is this: what are you speaking, imagining, and declaring to be true right now? Because your word becomes the mold, and divine supply is the molten gold that pours into that mold, regardless of what appearances might suggest. This is why speaking truth over sensory reports becomes such a crucial skill on this journey. When you look at an empty account but declare, "God is my unfailing supply," you're not lying or being unrealistic. You're operating from a higher law that governs how substance moves from the invisible realm into visible form. You're choosing to speak from spiritual reality rather than temporary circumstances. The impact of this decision cannot be overstated. Every time you choose to speak abundance in the face of apparent lack, you're literally reprogramming your subconscious mind with a new pattern, a new blueprint for your external world to follow. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because there's a specific phrase that acts like a master key, unlocking levels of abundance that most people never even imagine possible. Write in the comments, "I speak from spirit, not circumstances," if you're ready to break free from the limitation of sensory reports. This ancient principle reveals something extraordinary about the mechanics of reality creation. When the scriptures say, "Let the weak say, I am strong," this isn't poetic sentiment or motivational fluff. This is spiritual precision at its finest. It's a direct instruction on how to override current circumstances through the power of authoritative declaration. Think about the profound impact of this revelation on your entire approach to life. Even when your hands are trembling, when the bank account is whispering lies, when every external indicator suggests weakness or lack, you have the power to speak a different reality into existence. You declare strength while feeling weak, abundance while experiencing scarcity, success while facing apparent failure. This isn't denial, it's dominion. Most people have this completely backwards in their journey toward wealth. They wait to feel strong before they speak strength. They wait to see money before they declare abundance. They wait for evidence before they exercise faith. But spiritual law operates in the exact opposite direction. You speak the truth of spirit first, and then the physical world rearranges itself to match your declaration. Here's where the transformation gets really interesting, and it's a hidden truth that explains why so many people seem to lose everything and have to start over repeatedly. The reality behind the scenes is this: most people aren't starting over financially, they're starting over spiritually. They built their previous success on sand, without proper spiritual foundation, without understanding the divine laws that govern true wealth. When you build your fortune through hustle alone, through manipulation, through fear-based decisions, you're essentially constructing a house of cards. It may look impressive for a while, but because it lacks spiritual substance, it can't withstand the inevitable storms of life. When the tide comes in and sweeps it all away, people think they've lost everything. But the revelation is this: you can only lose what was never truly yours to begin with. What belongs to you by divine law, what you've claimed through proper spiritual declaration, what you've built on the foundation of truth that can never be taken away permanently. It may seem to disappear temporarily, but it must return because it's anchored in something deeper than circumstances, something more solid than market conditions. This is why some people bounce back from apparent disaster stronger than ever, while others remain defeated by setbacks. Those who understand spiritual law know that every loss is simply clearing away what was built on false foundation, making space for what's truly meant to be theirs. They don't see starting over as failure. They see it as an opportunity to rebuild correctly this time, with spiritual substance rather than worldly strategy. The mindset shift this creates is revolutionary. Instead of clinging desperately to temporary gains, you begin to speak from a place of absolute security, knowing that what's yours by divine decree must manifest again and again in greater measure each time. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because there's a specific way to tear down the house of doubt and build the mansion of truth. And it begins with understanding how your words either construct or destroy your spiritual foundation. Write in the comments, "I build on spiritual substance," if you're ready to construct wealth that can never be shaken. The profound transformation that's available to you right now doesn't require a new business plan, a different strategy, or even a change in your external circumstances. True renewal begins in consciousness and words, not in tactical adjustments. While everyone else is frantically searching for the next great opportunity or revolutionary system, you have the power to reconstruct your entire financial reality from the inside out. This is where most people miss the mark completely. On their journey toward lasting wealth, they think starting over means finding new strategies, new mentors, new markets to conquer. They pour endless energy into external renovations while leaving the foundation of their consciousness completely untouched. But here's the hidden truth that changes everything. You must tear down the house of doubt and build the mansion of truth through declaration, word by word, belief by belief. The impact of this revelation cannot be overstated. When you understand that consciousness is the true construction site, you stop wasting time rearranging the furniture in a house built on quicksand. Instead, you begin the sacred work of demolition and reconstruction, using your voice as both the wrecking ball and the blueprint. Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough, there's always been this moment of decision, the moment when someone chooses to break free from the patterns of thinking and speaking that created their current limitations. This isn't about positive thinking or gentle affirmations. This is about authoritative reconstruction of your inner world. The barrier that's been keeping you from the millions you desire was never made of stone, never constructed from external circumstances or lack of opportunity. The wall between you and your breakthrough is made of something far more subtle, yet infinitely more powerful: silence, hesitation, and the devastating habit of begging instead of commanding. Think about the revelations this brings to your daily interactions with abundance. Every time you hesitate to speak your truth, every moment you remain silent when you should declare your worth, every instance you plead with the universe instead of commanding your supply, you're adding another brick to that invisible wall. You're reinforcing the very barrier that keeps your good at arm's length. The transformation begins the moment you recognize that your voice carries the frequency of either limitation or liberation. When you speak with hesitation, you're essentially asking permission from a world that has no authority over your divine inheritance. When you beg for opportunities, you're positioning yourself as separate from the source of all supply. When you remain silent about your desires, you're withholding the very energy that activates spiritual law. If you're ready for real spiritual wisdom that creates actual transformation, not just surface-level motivation, subscribing to this channel is your next step. I share practical techniques that work, the kind of content that shifts your financial reality. But when you break through that wall of silence with authoritative speech, when you command rather than request, when you declare rather than hope, something extraordinary happens in the invisible realm. The frequency of your voice aligns with the frequency of abundance, and what seemed impossible suddenly becomes inevitable. This mindset shift creates a complete reorganization of how you move through the world. Instead of tiptoeing around your desires, you begin to speak them with the certainty of someone who understands their divine right to prosperity. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because there's a specific law governing how quickly the universe responds to different types of speech, and understanding this timing will revolutionize how you approach every financial decision. Write in the comments, "I choose command over silence," if you're ready to break through that invisible wall once and for all. The timing of divine law operates on a completely different frequency than human expectations, and understanding this difference will revolutionize every decision you make about your financial future. Divine law doesn't operate on human delay, doesn't wait for you to feel ready, doesn't pause for perfect conditions. It moves the instant you move by faith, responding to your bold declarations before any physical evidence has materialized. This revelation transforms everything about how you approach wealth creation. While most people wait to see before they believe, you begin to understand that spiritual law requires you to declare what the eye hasn't seen and the hand hasn't touched. You speak your future into existence before it becomes visible, commanding abundance before it appears in your bank account, claiming prosperity before circumstances reflect it. The impact of this shift in mindset cannot be understated. When you truly grasp that divine timing is instant, not gradual, you stop operating from the old paradigm of slow manifestation and patient waiting. You begin to expect immediate response from the universe because you understand that delay exists only in the physical realm, not in the spiritual dimension where all wealth originates. But here's where the journey becomes fascinating, and it's a hidden truth that will save you years of frustration. You don't actually need to convince the world of your prosperity. You don't need to prove to your family, your friends, or your colleagues that you deserve abundance. You don't need external validation or approval from society. The only mind you need to convince is your own subconscious. This behind-the-scenes revelation changes everything about how you invest your mental energy. Instead of exhausting yourself trying to justify your desires to others or seeking permission from people who may not understand your vision, you focus all your power on the one conversation that actually matters, the continuous dialogue between your conscious declarations and your subconscious programming. Your subconscious mind, when properly impressed with wealth consciousness, becomes your most powerful ally in the manifestation process. It doesn't just change how you feel about money. It literally begins organizing your external affairs to match your inner programming. It places you in the right conversations, draws the right opportunities into your path, creates synchronicities that seem miraculous but are actually the natural result of aligned consciousness. Think about the transformation this creates in your daily experience. Instead of trying to network your way to success or convince others to support your dreams, you simply focus on convincing your subconscious that abundance is your natural state. When that inner acceptance becomes complete, when your subconscious mind fully embraces prosperity as your identity, it begins working behind the scenes to arrange circumstances, meetings, and opportunities that support that new reality. This is why some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth, while others struggle despite endless effort. The difference isn't in their external actions, but in their internal programming. Those who understand this secret spend their time speaking to their subconscious rather than to the world. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because there's a specific phrase that acts like a master key to your subconscious mind, and when you learn to use it correctly, it unlocks levels of abundance most people never imagine possible. Write in the comments, "My subconscious creates my success," if you're ready to redirect your energy toward the conversation that actually changes everything. That master key I mentioned is more powerful than most people realize, and when you understand how to use it correctly, it becomes the foundation of your entire transformation. The specific declaration that should become your daily bread, spoken with absolute certainty, is this: I now draw to myself wealth divine. But here's the crucial distinction that separates those who see results from those who remain stuck. You're not speaking to wealth as if it's separate from you. You're speaking from wealth, claiming it as your divine inheritance. The impact of this shift in perspective changes everything about your relationship with abundance. When you speak to wealth, you're positioning yourself as separate from it, as someone who lacks it and is trying to attract it from the outside. But when you speak from wealth, when you declare it as already yours by divine right, you're operating from a completely different frequency, the frequency of ownership rather than neediness. The journey into this level of expectancy requires you to understand that your word isn't just sound waves moving through air, it's spiritual substance taking form, divine energy organizing itself according to your command. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because there's a specific way to build this expectancy that doesn't depend on seeing results first, and when you master this technique, you'll never doubt the power of your declarations again. Write in the comments, "I expect what I declare," if you're ready to move from hoping to knowing, from wishing to expecting absolute manifestation. The technique for building expectancy that doesn't depend on seeing results first is rooted in one of the most powerful promises ever recorded. And when you understand its true meaning, it will revolutionize how you approach every financial declaration. The biblical promise, "You shall decree a thing, and it shall be established unto you," isn't poetic metaphor or spiritual symbolism. It's pure spiritual mechanics, a divine formula that reveals exactly how the universe responds to authoritative speech. This revelation transforms your entire understanding of the manifestation process because it places the power squarely in your hands through the act of decreeing. But here's the crucial distinction that separates those who see results from those who remain stuck. The decree must be a spoken command from the soul, aligned with infinite power, delivered with full expectation that it's already accomplished. The impact of this understanding changes everything about your relationship with time and evidence. Most people wait to see before they believe, wait to have proof before they speak with certainty, wait for external validation before They dare to claim they're good. But spiritual law operates in the exact opposite direction, and this is where the journey becomes truly powerful. You must speak with absolute clarity before your eyes catch up to what your spirit already knows. You must declare abundance while looking at an empty account, command prosperity while surrounded by bills, decree wealth while appearances suggest limitation. This isn't denial of reality. This is recognition that the outer world is not the authority. It's merely the echo of what's been spoken in the realm of spirit. Behind the scenes of every major transformation, there's been this crucial moment when someone chooses to speak from spiritual truth rather than physical evidence. They recognize that appearances are temporary, but words spoken in faith create permanent change. They understand that waiting for proof is actually delaying the very thing they desire. The hidden truth about this process is that your spirit already knows the outcome before your mind can comprehend it. There's a part of you that exists beyond time and limitation, and when you speak from that place of knowing, you're not hoping your words will work. You're commanding reality to align with what's already true in the eternal realm. This mindset shift requires tremendous courage because you're essentially walking on the water of the invisible, speaking as if the thing is done while the room still appears empty. But this is exactly how divine law operates. It responds to faith that acts, belief that speaks, expectancy that declares. The transformation happens when you stop consulting appearances for permission to claim your good and start speaking as the authority over your own experience. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because there's a specific phrase that acts like a master key to this entire process. And when you learn to use it with the right frequency and intention, it becomes unstoppable in its power to manifest. Write in the comments, "I decree from spirit, not sight," if you're ready to speak your reality before your eyes can see it. That master key phrase I mentioned carries within it the power to transform your entire financial reality. And when you understand how to use it correctly, it becomes the foundation upon which all your abundance is built. The declaration, "Everything I speak in faith must appear," isn't a hopeful statement or wishful thinking. It must be spoken as law, as an unchangeable principle that governs how the universe responds to your voice when it carries the frequency of absolute faith. This revelation shifts everything about your relationship with manifestation because it removes the element of uncertainty from the equation. You're not wondering if your words will work, hoping they might take effect, or crossing your fingers that the universe will hear you. You're declaring an immutable law that operates with the same consistency as gravity or any other natural force. The impact of this understanding goes far beyond simple confidence building. When you truly grasp that everything you speak in faith must appear, you begin to treat your words with the reverence they deserve. You become selective about what you declare, understanding that your voice is essentially a divine instrument of creation that produces exactly what it's directed toward. Behind the scenes of this transformation, there's a crucial shift in timing that most people never understand. Faith doesn't wait for confidence before it speaks. Faith doesn't pause until believability arrives. Faith moves the tongue before it moves the world, commanding reality to align with spiritual truth regardless of how it feels in the moment. This is where the journey becomes what I call sacred labor, the daily deliberate work of reprogramming consciousness that goes far beyond spoken words. While your declarations are certainly powerful, there's an even deeper level of transformation that happens when you begin to replace the old images stored in your consciousness with new visions of abundance. The hidden truth about manifestation is that your subconscious mind thinks in pictures, not just words. It's constantly referencing internal images to determine what's possible, what's likely, what's real for you. If those images are still showing you struggle, limitation, or financial stress, then no matter how perfectly you speak your declarations, there's an underlying contradiction that slows down the manifestation process. The transformation begins when you start to picture wealth as already stored in the invisible realm, like rain held in the clouds, heavy with your name, needing only the command of faith to pour into your experience. You must see your supply as already prepared, already organized, already moving toward you by law, not by labor. This mindset shift requires you to become the director of your inner movie, consciously choosing which scenes play in your imagination. Instead of replaying old memories of financial struggle or worry, you begin to visualize yourself receiving abundance with grace, spending money with ease, giving generously without fear. The journey into this level of consciousness transformation requires patience with the process, but absolute intolerance for thoughts and images that don't serve your highest good. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because there's a specific way to accelerate this reprogramming that uses the power of emotion to literally rewire your nervous system for wealth. And understanding this will cut years off your manifestation timeline. Write in the comments, "I reprogram my images daily," if you're ready to become the conscious director of your inner world and replace limitation with abundance at every level. The specific way to accelerate this reprogramming using emotion to rewire your nervous system operates according to what's known as the law of divine supply. And understanding this law will completely transform how you think about where your money actually comes from. All provision flows from the invisible source, not from people, not from professions, not from your performance or productivity. This revelation shifts everything because it means you don't earn your supply through effort. You align with it by knowing it's already present in the spiritual realm. This understanding creates a profound transformation in how you approach your entire financial life. Instead of looking to employers, clients, market conditions, or economic trends as your source, you begin to recognize that these are merely channels through which divine abundance flows. The source itself is unlimited, inexhaustible, and completely independent of external circumstances. The impact of this shift cannot be overstated because it eliminates the anxiety that comes from depending on unstable external factors. When you truly understand that your supply originates from the infinite realm, you stop worrying about recessions, job security, or market fluctuations. These things may affect the channels, but they cannot touch the source. Behind the scenes of this transformation, there's a specific command that acts like a tuning fork for your entire consciousness, and when you learn to use it correctly, it becomes the silent engine that drives all your manifestation. The declaration, "Every dollar I need now appears by divine law," must become more than words you speak. It should pulse in your bones, hum beneath your thoughts, vibrate through your entire being, until it transforms from statement to knowing. The hidden truth about why this particular phrase is so powerful lies in its precision and immediacy. It doesn't say, "Someday I'll have money," or "I hope abundance comes." It declares with absolute certainty that every dollar you need is appearing now, in this moment, by divine law that cannot be delayed or denied. The journey into this level of certainty requires you to speak this command, plainly and strongly, without hesitation or apology, until it becomes woven into the fabric of your identity. You must repeat it until your nervous system stops tensing at the thought of bills and starts relaxing into the rhythm of divine provision. This is where emotion becomes the accelerator of transformation. When you speak, "Every dollar I need now appears by divine law," with genuine feeling, with relief, with gratitude, with excitement, you're not just programming your mind, you're rewiring your entire nervous system to expect abundance rather than brace for lack. The transformation happens when this declaration becomes so familiar, so internalized, that doubt can no longer find a home in your consciousness. You walk through life with the quiet confidence of someone who knows the vault is open, the flow is constant, the supply is unfailing. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because there's a specific identity shift that must happen for this law to work at full power. And once you make this shift, money will never feel scarce or difficult again. Write in the comments, "Divine law supplies me now," if you're ready to align with the infinite source rather than chase finite channels. The specific identity shift that must happen for this law to work at full power goes much deeper than most people realize, and it reveals why so many intelligent, hard-working individuals remain stuck despite knowing all the right techniques. The hidden truth is that many people haven't simply lacked money. They've actually become lack in their thoughts, their posture, their emotional rhythm, their daily language. They've worn scarcity like an invisible garment draped over their shoulders, woven into the very fabric of their self-image. This revelation explains why surface-level affirmations often feel hollow or forced. You can't simply speak abundance over a foundation of lack consciousness and expect lasting transformation. The false identity that says, "not enough," is your normal state must be completely dismantled and replaced with the recognition that divine provision flows through you as naturally as breath flows through your lungs. The impact of this shift transforms everything about how you move through the world. Instead of unconsciously preparing for disappointment, bracing for rejection, or expecting denial, you begin to carry the atmosphere of someone who knows the treasury is open, the vault is accessible, the supply is constant. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment with your true spiritual position. Behind the scenes of this transformation lies what I call the law of dominion, and understanding this law will revolutionize how you see your relationship with abundance. You were given dominion over the earth, not as a source of pride or ego, but as humble awareness of your actual position in divine order. This dominion isn't something you earn through performance. It's something you were born with, breathed into you before you took your first breath. The journey into this understanding requires you to recognize that you weren't designed to crawl through life begging for provision, apologizing for your desires, or tiptoeing around your need for abundance. The very fact that you can conceive of wealth, that you can imagine prosperity, that you can envision a life of overflow is proof that these things are already coded into your spiritual DNA. This mindset shift eliminates the exhausting energy of supplication and replaces it with the powerful stance of rightful claim. You stop asking permission from a world that has no authority over your divine inheritance and start speaking as someone who knows they were meant to demonstrate abundance, not struggle with scarcity. The transformation happens when you realize that dominion isn't about controlling others or manipulating circumstances. It's about taking your rightful place as a conscious channel through which divine abundance expresses itself in the physical realm. You become a living demonstration of heaven's prosperity, not through effort or force, but through alignment and authority. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because there's a specific way to embody this dominion that doesn't require you to change your circumstances first. And when you master this embodiment, every interaction you have begins to reflect your new identity as someone who commands rather than begs. Write in the comments, "I embody divine dominion," if you're ready to step into your rightful position as heir to infinite abundance rather than victim of financial limitation. The specific way to embody this dominion without changing your circumstances first involves practicing what I call the speech of wealth, and this practice will revolutionize every transaction, every financial decision, every moment you interact with money. The declaration you must make your daily reality is this: I now spend, receive, and give as a steward of divine wealth. This isn't just a nice affirmation. It's a complete reconstruction of your financial vocabulary that breaks the old patterns of limitation and establishes you as an agent of spiritual flow. This transformation happens because stewardship operates on an entirely different frequency than ownership or scarcity. When you spend as a steward of divine wealth, you're not depleting your resources. You're circulating sacred substance. When you receive as a steward, you're not taking from a limited supply. You're allowing divine abundance to flow through you. When you give as a steward, you're not sacrificing your security. You're demonstrating your trust in the infinite source. The impact of this shift touches every aspect of your financial life. Instead of clutching money with anxiety, calculating every purchase with fear, or giving reluctantly from a sense of obligation, you begin to move through financial interactions with the grace and confidence of someone who knows they're handling divine substance, not personal possessions. Behind the scenes of this transformation, there's often a subtle saboteur that most people never recognize until it's already undermined their breakthrough. Even after you've successfully manifested abundance, even after the money starts flowing, there's something that can quickly destroy everything you've built. It's guilt, the great saboteur of wealth consciousness. This revelation exposes one of the most insidious barriers to sustained prosperity. Guilt creeps in after manifestation, whispering questions like, should you really have this much? Or, is it fair that you're prospering while others struggle? Or, Are you becoming too comfortable, too different from the people around you? These thoughts create an internal resistance that can literally push abundance away even after it's arrived. The hidden truth that eliminates this sabotage is understanding that divine substance is infinite. When you claim your portion of abundance, you're not taking from anyone else's supply. The universe isn't a limited pie where your slice makes everyone else's smaller. Divine wealth operates on principles of multiplication, not division. The more you receive and circulate with gratitude, the more becomes available for everyone. The journey beyond guilt requires you to recognize that you're not here to hoard wealth, but to reveal it. You're not meant to accumulate abundance for selfish purposes, but to become a clear channel through which divine prosperity can demonstrate itself in the physical world. Your wealth becomes a testimony to what's possible when someone aligns with spiritual law. The transformation happens when you realize that feeling guilty about abundance is actually a form of spiritual pride. It suggests you think you know better than the universe about what you should have or how much is appropriate for you. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because there's a specific way to permanently install this guilt-free relationship with money that goes beyond intellectual understanding and creates lasting emotional freedom around wealth. Write in the comments, "I receive without guilt, I give without fear," if you're ready to become a clear channel for divine abundance rather than a conflicted holder of limited resources. The specific way to permanently install this guilt-free relationship with money reveals something profound about the nature of divine timing itself. And this understanding will eliminate one of the most persistent obstacles to manifestation. Most people unconsciously delay their own breakthrough by accepting the false belief that heaven is slow, that God operates on some mysterious timeline they can't understand, that divine timing means waiting indefinitely for their good to arrive. This revelation transforms everything, because the hidden truth is this: delay is not divine. Heaven isn't slow, and God isn't confused about the timing of your abundance. Every moment of delay, every instance of not yet, every experience of waiting comes from within you, from words not spoken with authority, from faith not declared with conviction, from declarations whispered instead of commanded. The impact of this understanding eliminates the spiritual justification for limitation that keeps so many people trapped in cycles of almost but not quite manifestation. Divine timing isn't procrastination disguised as patience, it's precision in action. When your consciousness is clear, when your declarations are consistent, when your faith is unwavering, divine timing moves at the speed of your certainty. Behind the scenes of every instant manifestation, there's been this crucial moment when someone stops romanticizing delay and starts commanding immediacy. They recognize that divine timing isn't about waiting for some external green light. It's about the sacred synchronization that happens when their inner world finally matches their outer declarations. The journey to this level of mastery culminates in what I call the final command, the ultimate declaration that transcends all others in its power to transform reality. It's the statement that moves you from hoping to being, from trying to commanding, from becoming to recognizing what you already are. The declaration is simply this: I am wealth. I speak and it is. This isn't positive thinking or hopeful affirmation. This is the recognition of your true spiritual identity. You're not becoming wealthy through some gradual process of accumulation. You are wealth in its purest form, divine substance expressing itself through your voice, your decisions, your very presence in the world. The transformation that happens when you truly embrace this identity goes beyond anything you've experienced before. You stop trying to manifest money and start speaking it into visibility. You stop working toward abundance and start working from it. You stop hoping for prosperity and start being the very demonstration of it. The hidden truth about this final command is that it operates on the principle of being rather than becoming. When you declare, I am wealth, you're not describing a future goal. You're claiming a present reality that exists in the spiritual realm and must manifest in the physical realm because law doesn't fail. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because there's a specific way to embody this ultimate identity that transforms not just your bank account but your entire relationship with life itself. Write in the comments, "I am wealth expressing," if you're ready to step into this final level of consciousness where you become the very thing you seek. The specific way to embody this ultimate identity transforms not just your financial reality, but your entire relationship with existence itself. When you truly understand that you are wealth expressing through human form, when you recognize that every word you speak carries the power to reshape the material world, when you embrace your role as a conscious creator rather than a passive observer, everything changes. If you've stayed with me through this entire journey, if you've felt the truth resonating in these words, if something inside you has awakened to the possibility that your voice really does carry this kind of power, then you're exactly where you need to be. This isn't coincidence. This message found you because you're ready for this level of transformation. I create content like this because I've seen what happens when people truly grasp these principles and apply them with consistency and faith. The transformations are real, the breakthroughs are tangible, and the shifts in consciousness are permanent. If this resonates with you, consider subscribing to the channel because this is the kind of deep, practical spiritual wisdom I share regularly. Not surface-level motivation, but the actual mechanics of how reality responds to your voice. Leave a comment saying, "This message was meant for me," if you made it all the way to the end, because I want to acknowledge those of you who are serious about this work. Your presence here, your attention, your willingness to go this deep, it all matters. And if this conversation has shifted something in you, if you feel that spark of recognition, hit that like button. It helps this message reach others who are ready for this level of truth. And honestly, it lets me know that we're connected in this understanding. There's a video right here that takes this even deeper, exploring exactly how to maintain this new identity when the old world tries to pull you back into limitation. Click and continue with me over there because this is just the beginning of what's possible when you truly understand the power that lives in your